Breaking news! There's a quiet storm brewing inside the Baltimore Ravens facility, one that could shape the identity of this team moving forward. While all eyes may be locked on the usual headlines, like Lamar Jackson's MVP-caliber leadership or the defense's ferocity, there are 5 names flying under the radar whose 2025 season could determine their entire future in the NFL. And one of them might shock you. But before we move on, make sure you hit that like button if you're a true Ravens fan. It's always amazing to see fans of all ages supporting this team. And if you feel like it, comment, "Go Ravens," down below. Let's dive in. We begin with a name that feels like unfinished business, Trenton Simpson. The 2023 third-round pick was once considered the natural heir to Roquan Smith's leadership role in the heart of the defense. During the 2024 preseason, he looked like just that, the green on his helmet, calling plays, and dominating in limited action. But once the regular season hit, the story flipped dramatically. By week 15, Simpson had completely vanished from the defensive rotation. 0 snaps. Not 0 tackles, not 0 big plays, 0 snaps. He logged a mere 6 snaps in week 16, then just 4 in week 17. And when the playoffs arrived, he was nowhere to be seen. In both games, he didn't touch the field. The defensive staff, especially new defensive coordinator Zach Orr, essentially benched Simpson down the stretch, signaling serious concerns about his readiness. And yet, despite that alarming finish, the starting inside linebacker job opposite Roquan Smith is still very much up for grabs, with Simpson likely in the driver's seat due to his experience and familiarity with the system. But he's got serious competition in rookie Teddy Buchanan, a name many inside the building are excited about. This is a classic prove-it season for Simpson. Either he seizes the moment and becomes the player he was drafted to be, or he risks fading into a career of rotational snaps and unmet potential. Which version of Trenton Simpson will we get in 2025? Flipping to the offensive side, the next man up is Andrew Vorhees. The left guard's journey to this moment is a testament to resilience. A projected mid-round pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, Vorhees saw his stock plummet after a torn ACL at the NFL Combine. The Ravens took a flyer on him in the 7th round, and when he finally stepped onto the field last season, he earned the starting job over both Ben Cleveland and Patrick McCree. But just as quickly as he rose, an ankle injury in weeks 4 and 5 derailed his progress. McCree filled in admirably, and from that point on, Vorhees saw just 60 snaps across the final 12 weeks of the season. Fast forward to 2025, and Patrick McCree is gone, now with the Jacksonville Jaguars. That leaves Vorhees and Cleveland battling once again for the starting left guard spot. The rest of the offensive line feels locked in Stanley, Linderbaum, Falale, and Rosengarten, but that guard position remains a wide-open contest. If Vorhees can't outplay Cleveland this summer, it could seal his fate as a permanent depth piece. And on a Super Bowl contending roster like Baltimore's, there's little room for almost when it comes to the trenches. Will Vorhees rise to the occasion, or will 2025 mark the end of his shot at becoming a full-time starter? Next on the list is Bo Braid, and this one might hit a little closer to home for local fans. Braid, the former Maryland Terrapin, joined the Ravens as an undrafted free agent in 2024. While that status often comes with long odds, Braid made a name for himself in the preseason, turning heads with his playmaking and energy. But opportunity didn't knock until the unfortunate Achilles injury to Darius Washington, which opened a path for someone to step into a significant role in the safety rotation behind stars like Kyle Hamilton and rookie Malachi Starks. That someone could be Bo Braid. But if he doesn't capitalize on this chance, if he doesn't show the coaching staff that he belongs on the field and not just on the sidelines, then it may never happen for him. Like Vorhees, he's not battling to become a superstar. He's battling for relevancy, for snaps, for a place in this locker room. And if he can't take a leap this year, the Ravens may have no choice but to move on. It's a rare moment of clarity in a crowded secondary. Can Bo Braid make it count? But now, let's talk about a name that doesn't quite belong in the fringe player conversation, Mark Andrews. Yes, that Mark Andrews. The same one who's been Lamar Jackson's go-to target for years, a staple in the Ravens offense, a household name across the league. So why is he on this list? Because 2025 is a contract year. And in a franchise strapped for cash with multiple key extensions looming, it's becoming clearer that only one tight end, Andrews or Isaiah Likely, will get the big payday. That's a hard pill to swallow for Ravens fans, but it's the reality. Andrews will be 30 next season, and while the team still runs plenty of 12 personnel with both tight ends on the field, it's tough to justify paying big money to two players at the same position. If Andrews wants to stay in Baltimore, he'll need to force the front office's hand. He'll need a season so dominant, so undeniable, that letting him walk would feel like franchise malpractice. Otherwise, we could be witnessing the final act of one of the most beloved Ravens of the past decade. Will Mark Andrews still be in purple and black in 2026? And rounding out this critical five is a player whose name sparks both excitement and caution, Ode Foa. A first-round pick from 2021, Owa enters his fifth year with the Ravens, and for the first time, he's coming off a season that matches his draft pedigree. 10 sacks, 39 tackles. A noticeable jump in production and consistency. But one good season doesn't erase 3 years of up-and-down play. What Baltimore needs now is back-to-back dominance. Can Owa stack another double-digit sack campaign? Can he become the true edge anchor this defense desperately needs? He's put on muscle. He's refined his technique. He's entering his prime years with a real shot at a breakout season. If he delivers, he'll get paid, plain and simple. But if he regresses, or even plateaus, the Ravens will be faced with a brutal decision. Keep betting on potential, or cut ties before the price tag explodes. The stakes couldn't be higher for a player who's always had the tools but not always the tape. Let's keep it rolling. Trenton Simpson's situation is almost emblematic of what the Ravens have consistently avoided: high-potential players who can't put it all together. This is a franchise built on maximizing talent. Think about Ray Lewis, C.J. Mosley, and more recently Roquan Smith. The inside linebacker position is sacred in Baltimore. And while no one's expecting Simpson to immediately replicate that level of dominance, this team doesn't hand out symbolic starting roles. If Simpson falters again, whether it's due to missed assignments, lack of physicality, or simply being outperformed by Teddy Buchanan, it won't take long for the coaching staff to make a permanent switch. Buchanan is coming in hungry. He doesn't have the draft pedigree, but from what insiders are saying, his football IQ is sharp, and he's made a strong impression in OTAs. What happens if Simpson gets outplayed again? He might find himself not only off the starting lineup but even lower on the depth chart than anyone anticipated. It's not just a battle for the position, it's a fight for long-term relevance on this roster. Andrew Vorhees, meanwhile, has a narrative that should inspire fans but also raise questions. He's proven grit, coming back from a devastating injury, winning the job last year, and then having it slip away due to health once again. But grit isn't enough in the trenches of the NFL. Availability is just as valuable as ability. Ben Cleveland has been patient, biding his time, and now has another real shot at owning that left guard position. And don't forget, this offensive line is protecting the franchise. Lamar Jackson needs stability and consistency up front if the Ravens are going to make a real run at a title. If Vorhees goes down again, or if he's simply outperformed, then what was once a story of redemption could become one of missed opportunity. Depth pieces are valuable, sure, but Baltimore is hunting for elite, durable linemen. If Vorhees doesn't lock down this job, the front office may already start looking toward the 2026 draft or free agency for a long-term answer. Then there's Bo Braid, whose situation is even more precarious. He's not just fighting for snaps, he's fighting for a job. The NFL is ruthless when it comes to undrafted players. One bad preseason outing, one mental lapse, and that's it. You're out. And with the depth the Ravens already have at safety, Kyle Hamilton, Malachi Starks, and even versatile corners who can play up top, Braid has to not only make plays, he has to do it consistently and in high-leverage moments. The Washington injury opens the door, but it's up to Braid to kick it down. He's got the heart, the local ties, and the energy fans love. But heart doesn't win reps, execution does. The coaches won't be playing favorites just because he's a Maryland kid. If he misses this window, there may never be another one. Mark Andrews, on the other hand, is a completely different story. His position on this list isn't about proving he belongs, he already does. This is about legacy. Can he finish his career where it began, as one of Lamar Jackson's most trusted targets? Or does his story in Baltimore end with a quiet departure after the season? It's tough. Fans don't want to think about losing Mark Andrews, but the money has to make sense. With players like Kyle Hamilton, Justin Matabike, and others already demanding major extensions, locking up two tight